Are you taking Ezekiel Elliott at home versus the Eagles or Tony Pollard also at home versus the Eagles?
This is an interesting matchup just because it kind of reminds me of like Melvin Gordon and younger Austin Ekeler.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Ekeler's Edge. I'm Liz Loza, and this is, of course, Chargers running back, hyper-efficient receiver, and fantasy football superstar Austin Ekeler.
I got to get my receiving yards going a little bit before I would consider myself hyper-efficient, but hey, I got a little time. But yeah, welcome back, everyone.
We got a great show for you. We'll look ahead to the AFC West showdown between Austin's Chargers and the Chiefs. AE makes some tough fantasy decisions in Make Your Pick. And Giants wide receiver Sterling Shepard will join the show. Dang, this thing is jam-packed.
Let's get it going.
Austin, a tough loss in your home opener to the Cowboys on a 56-yard field goal as time expired, but you had a great game, 115 total yards on 18 touches, including an amazing one-handed grab on which, by the way, you took an illegal hit to the helmet. So tell me, how you feeling?
Yeah, a good day for fantasy, not a good day for the Chargers. But yeah, that hit, that was crazy. That's the new answer to the question is the hardest I've ever been hit. And then I come running to the sideline and the equipment guy takes my helmet because my face mask was actually indented. So yeah, that shows you just the force. Those are metal bars too on my face mask. I think it had an indention in it.
How you feeling now, though?
Feeling great now, though. It actually wasn't like concussed or anything. It was just like a solid hit. Yeah, feeling good going into KC.
All right, well, we want to see you in the game plan in week 3 because this week you face the Chiefs. And following their 36-35 loss in Baltimore, KC doesn't hold at least a share of the lead in the AFC West for the first time since week 16 of the 2016 season. So, how do you plan on keeping them out of first place for good?
Man, they are definitely stacked, especially on offense. Like, obviously, they have Pat Mahomes, who, is an offense in himself. And then they have all those weapons around him, and then on defense as well.
Well, last week, when we were talking about the matchup against Dallas, you correctly predicted that it was going to be a time of possession battle. I have to imagine when you have these two high-powered offenses facing off in week 3, you're going to manage a similar strategy. But could Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's costly fumble that happened late against the Ravens affect his usage this week for Kansas City?
I think no, he'll be straight going forward. Can't let one play, now Clyde sucks like that. That's how fantasy world thinks. Everyone chill out. Everyone chill out, and he's gonna be fine. Look what he's done in the past. This is only the second week. Sometimes, I hate to say it, but sometimes it takes a little bit for people to get in a rhythm. And that's what the NFL is about: getting in a rhythm and trying to sustain it as long as you can. So yeah, I'm looking forward to him balling out. We'll have a little head-to-head matchup here coming up this week.
All right, Austin, last week you said to slow your roll on Jameis Winston, who definitely struggled in week 2. And then you also recommended to stay calm with Julio Jones and Mike Evans, both of whom enjoyed big bounce-back games. This week, I'm going to give you 2 players, and you tell me who you would play in week 3.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start at the quarterback position. Are you playing Derek Carr, who has been on fire, passing for over 800 yards and 4 touchdowns over the first 2 weeks of the season at home versus the Dolphins, or Teddy Bridgewater, who's passed for nearly 600 yards, 4 touchdowns, division rival of yours at home versus the Jets?
That's a good one. It's a good one. Derek Carr, like you said, has been on fire. And then Teddy, been holding it down over there in Denver too. Man, like the quarterbacks in our division. Let's go. It's the quarterback division over here, right? But I'm gonna go with Derek Carr just because he has been killing it. The running game's been struggling, but it hasn't even mattered because Derek Carr's dishing it out. Darren Waller balling out. I'm gonna go with Derek Carr over Teddy for this matchup this week.
I agree with you. You mentioned the running game struggling in Las Vegas, and I think that's actually why you're going to see Derek Carr pass more, because he's going to need to. But if you look at the Denver situation, that backfield is tight. Your former teammate Melvin Gordon plus Javonte Williams, they have the option in Denver to lean on the run, which they don't have as much in Las Vegas. So I also agree with you and believe that Derek Carr is the better of these 2 options. All right, let's move to wide receiver now. Okay, we got 2 rookies, Jamar Chase at the Steelers, or Rondale Moore, who broke out massively in week 2 at the Jaguars?
Yeah, the Steelers obviously have, one of the better defenses in the league. So I think that's something to consider. The fact that the Jaguars have been struggling a little bit defensively is making me lean more a little bit towards Rondale. We saw, what Tyrod Taylor was able to do, just the mobile quarterback against the Jaguars defense. So I think that's going to play a big part into it as well. Definitely something to look at just going forward. So I'm going to go with Rondale Moore this week.
That is an interesting take. I mean, there's definitely going to be more points available in the Arizona at Jacksonville matchup, but I think Jamar Chase, really his connection with Joe Burrow is so solid. He scored in back-to-back weeks. So I think in terms of higher floor, I would lean towards Jamar Chase. But there is no doubt that Rondale Moore has this incredible deep ball yak ability that will get fantasy managers a ton of points in a lot of high-scoring situations, because also the Cardinals do not look like they are going to slow down one bit.
Right. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of these guys. These guys are definitely showing out.
All right, let's finish this up with the running back position. Here are 2 players that you have had recent experience with. Are you taking Ezekiel Elliott at home versus the Eagles, or Tony Pollard also at home versus the Eagles?
This is an interesting matchup just because it kind of reminds me of like Melvin Gordon and younger Austin Ekeler, right? When we had that 1-2 punch, right? Where Melvin was like the established back, like you couldn't go wrong with Mel if he was on your team. Like he's going to get a lot of work, he's going to get a lot of just action in the game. But then, he had me. It was like in the Tony Pollard, stage. He'd get in the game for sure, get some carries, but also be like a gadget guy. You're moving him around. You have 2 backs on the field. And for that reason, I'm going with Pollard. I think just the way they're going to use him, especially in PPR leagues, I think they're going to be throwing the ball to him more, right? Whether it's, little screens to the outside. I know they did like a little bubble screen with him, with both of them on the field at the same time. Not saying Zeke's not a good pick. Obviously, they're both going to be scoring points for you, but just as far as just efficiency in fantasy, I think Pollard's the better choice.
Wow. I love that take. I'm not going to dispute it since you're the professional running back. You mentioned that Tony Pollard is an excellent pass catcher. Well, he has more targets and receptions than Zeke right now. So I think there might be a little bit of a race here, at least through the first 2 months of the season. Sterling Shepard, welcome to Ekeler's Edge. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. So are you like Austin? Do you play fantasy football?
No, I do not play fantasy football, nor do I know anything about fantasy football other than the fans getting on me if I don't have a good game. That's about all I know.
Man, that seems to be so common, man. It seems to be. That's how I actually figured out fantasy football was even a thing.
Yeah,
people, fans are ruthless, man, especially when it comes to fantasy. But for you
I
this year,
bro, have a decent game and still they'll get on me. So,
hey, I've had the opposite as far as you this year, because this year you've been balling out for the fantasy squad. There's there's 2 different communities when it comes to the NFL, right? There's your team out there in New York, and then there's the fantasy squad who knows you. They don't know your team, they don't care how you do this, care how you perform.
That's true.
And you've been showing out for them this year, so keep that up.
Austin mentioned it. You have been balling out, showing out. You hauled in 16 grabs over the first 2 weeks of the season. That's tied for the league lead. And yet, at least at the time of this recording, you're rostered in fewer than 60% of Yahoo fantasy leagues. I know you don't play fantasy. I know the fans are up in your ears. What do you say to the managers that believed in you, first of all?
Hey, appreciate you. I mean, they must have been riding with me for a long time. This has been my best camp this far. So they probably, listened to how camp was going, and then, thankful that it leaked into the season. So I appreciate you guys for the support.
I'll add on to that though, but there's some insight for you guys out there that have Sterling Shepard on the free agency right now. Go pick him up. He said it was his best camp. So listen to the insight right here. Pick that up. Go pick him up for sure.
Sterling, what about the ones that have slept on you? What do you have to say to them?
Hey man, keep sleeping on me. I like people that sleep on me. For real, it kind of fuels me. So you keep sleeping on me once, but gonna miss. I guess they're gonna miss out on some points.
Your quarterback, Daniel Jones, right now he's got the 3rd most rushing yards for a quarterback behind Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. For reference, that's more rushing yards than Kyler. That's more than Josh Allen. Talk to us about your QB and how he's been sneaky mobile. Well, maybe not so sneaky if you know his game, actually.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's sneaky at all. I mean, if you look at last year when he broke that long one that everybody likes to talk about, I mean, he clocked like 21 or 22 on speed. If that wasn't like a highlight of what he can do on his feet, then I don't know what is. And, I mean, you saw him make some great decisions last week on Thursday, pulling the ball whenever he had to. He had that touchdown as well and ended up getting called back. But, yeah, I mean, he's making great decisions, and he knows when to use his feet if he has to.
Who wins the race, Sterling Shepard or Daniel Jones?
I'm going to blow him out. I'm going to blow him out. You know what? We always talk about that. My start is too good. He can't come get me.
That's right.
We actually raced over the all season, but that was like a conditioning deal. So
okay.
He don't want to count it.
That's great. That's great.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sterling. And, good luck the rest of the season.
I appreciate you guys.
Oh, yeah, man. Keep it up.
Woo! That was a big show. And that, by the way, is going to do it for episode 4 of Ekeler's Edge. Austin, thank you so much for all of your intel and analysis and experience. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Liz. And thank you all for tuning in. I'll see y'all next week.